Hello, I'm Jo from So Creative in Petersfield, and today I want to show you this lovely little computerized model from Brother, which is the SH40, which is an entry kind of level machine, a little bit of fun, and I just want to show you the basics of winding the bobbin, threading it up, how to use the various features, and we'll do a buttonhole and basically use the needle threader, all those things that you might want to know. So let's get started. So we switch the machine on, and as I said, this is the Brother SH40. It has 40 stitches and quite a nice few little decorative stitches, automatic buttonhole, and it's got a digital display. And this is also quite easy to use because we've got our stitch length here and our stitch width. So we're easily changing with there. And to change our stitches, we can use these up and down buttons here. So if I wanted stitch number 13, for instance, I can go stitch 13. So it tells us what foot to use as well. So it's, let's switch it off. And then I'm going to switch it back on again. And then we're ready just back to straight stitch, which is quite nice. Other lovely thing about Brother, let's just talk about the machine. We've got a QR code here, and the QR code takes you to various Brother sites. So it'll be for registering your machine and also for how to. So, you know, it will show you little videos of how to use the different feet, etc. So that's a really lovely feature with Brother. We've got a vertical spool. So when it comes out of the box, it'll look like that. And if we try to put the spool holder on, it won't stay. So we need to lift the spool holder up. This is just for bobbin winding. This is the bobbin winding tension, which I'm going to show you in a moment. Another lovely thing, that's why it makes it perfect for new sewers, is that we've got a speed control. And it's not just slow, medium, fast. It can be anything amongst there. So that's a lovely feature. Needle down button, which is brilliant, especially when we're pivoting around corners. So the needle will stop in needle down. Our reverse button, and also on this we can use the start stop feature, so we don't have to use the foot pedal. We could take the foot pedal out, which we will do when we do the buttonhole, and I'll show you that. This is the thread tension at the top, and it threads just as any normal sewing machine, and it's got a drop-in bobbin. It's also got an easy drop-in bobbin, so I'll show you that, and it's also got how-tos here, so it's a really good machine, hard to go wrong, but obviously, you know, if we don't take care and attention, then we can do it wrong. So let's wind a bobbin first of all, and it's got an easy wind bobbin. That's what I love about this machine, and what that means is I can pop my thread on with a thread coming behind, and I'm going to go through this bit and then catch it in a figure of 8 into the tension wind, the bobbin tension, which is there. Okay, so I've come through and the figure of 8. There's even a figure here to make sure that we do that correctly. So we're going to take our empty bobbin and put it straight onto the bobbin winding spool, and you'll see it's got this little thing underneath, and that's little cutters under there, because for winding the bobbin I don't need to poke it up through a hole. I can just make this nice and tight, pop it behind, and then I'm going to use what thread I've got in my hand to wind clockwise around until I feel it secure, and then I'm going to pop it under there and pull. So the next thing I need to do is to push the bobbin over to the bobbin winder stopper, and now I can put my foot on my foot pedal and wind the bobbin. So you'll see that when it's winding, it's going up and down and it's nice and tight. And the reason why it's tight is because it's gone into this bobbin tension here. This is a crucial part. You'll see that this thread here is loose. This thread here is nice and tight. And it's because of that that's making this bobbin wind tightly. So I'm just going to give it a few more bits. And you can see it going up and down. And that's a perfectly wound bobbin. I'm going to stop there because we won't need too much. Besides, on this variegated thread, I wouldn't usually use a variegated bobbin, but I have done. So we're back in reverse. Pop it back that way lift the bobbin, and then I can use that little cutter to cut the thread. So I'm going to pop the bobbin in now. So we get our bobbin like a P for perfect. Now, so if we imagine that this is a letter P, that's going to drop in here like a P for perfect, as opposed to a Q for not quite right. Okay, so it must be that way, which is anti-clockwise. So I'm going to just slide the bobbin cover open, and there's lots of descriptions here as well, as you see. Right way, wrong way. Can't go wrong if you follow the instructions. So we're going to drop it in as a P for perfect. Keep this thread at 6 o'clock. And there's a little tiny tension slit at 6 o'clock. And I can see if I hold that, it's gone into the tension. And then I'm going to get into the groove. And there's another little blade there. That's it. That's the bobbin in tension. Pop the cover on. Slide it. That's it. That's the bobbin done. So now we're going to thread the machine. As I say, this bit is just for bobbin winding, so we don't want it in there now. We're going to take it out of there. And I'm going to go behind the same, and then I'm going to follow numbers. So that was number 1. It's marked on there, number 2. We need to make sure our presser foot is up. So in the upright position. So as our tension discs are open. So we're down, 3, around, up to the top. I usually hold this thread here, just so I can feel it pop into the take-up lever. It's actually gone through there. And then back down into, this bit's a little bit awkward. I'm hoping my hands won't be in the way. The top of the needle bar, there's a little one there. Do you want me to do that again? No. And now we're going to use the needle threader. So the needle threader with your machine, with Brother, it's a 3-year warranty. The needle threader isn't under warranty because it's very easy to break, and it's only breakable by user error. So we make sure the needle's in the right position. So to do that, we always use the button, which is our needle down, needle up button. If we've just finished a stitch, it will naturally be there anyway. I'm then going to bring the needle threader, my hand's going to get in the way, needle threader all the way down and hold it. And then you have to be a bit ambidextrous. I'm going to create a little L shape. Can you see how that thread is like an L shape? And I'm holding it slightly at the back. And then I'm going to let it go. And it creates a little loop, which is there. And I'm going to use my fingers to pull the loop, and voila, the needle is threaded. Okay, good opportunity to show you the thread cutter at the side. So I can then hook it around there. There we are. So this thread now goes through the toe of the foot and out the back to 12 o'clock. Okay, for some reason this has just sprung out, so I'm just going to pop it back in. There we are, it's in there. So we're good to go. First thing we're going to do is do a little test sew. Check it's working all right. So to sew, I think also this machine, which is why it's good for a starter, is when you're learning, it's very easy to forget to put our presser foot down. And I don't think this will work without, no it won't. So that's why it's a really good machine. So some machines would work and then they'd make a right horrible mess. So it's beeping at me, put my presser foot down. So that's really good. So we'll start with needle down. So I'm going to push the button here. Needles down. I can now put my foot on my foot pedal and do a few stitches. I can use my speed control to go faster or slower. And you'll see that it stopped with needle down because we told it to, which means I can turn the corner and do some more stitching. Okay, that looks really good. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the stitching. So we are on a straight stitch at the moment. We're on stitch 0, 0, which is actually a straight stitch with the needle over to the left. But let's do a zigzag. So I'm going to change to stitch 4. So on this one, I'm going to go up to 4. And now we're going to get a zigzag. and it's a default zigzag, so we don't have to change any other knobs. It's going to automatically do a zigzag, but it's going to be a 3.5 wide and a 1.4 length. So this is what the default zigzag looks like. So you can see it's quite a narrow, delicate zigzag. But let's say we want to make that bigger. So I'm going to come around here. So very easy then to change the stitch width and the stitch length. So the stitch width, we can see there's a little diagram. You may not see it in the screen, but next to the stitch width, saying at the moment it's 3.5. That means that that zigzag is 3.5 millimeters wide. But let's take it up to as high as it will go. 7. I know it's 7 because we've got a 7mm foot on this machine. So it can't go higher than that, otherwise it'll be hitting the metal and breaking the needle. So we're going up to 7, and I'm going to take the stitch length up to 2.5. So we're going to get a wider, longer zigzag. Whoa, that's a wide, longer zigzag. Okay, so you can see there how perfectly this is stitching. So that's really nice, and it's nice and easy to change. So if I wanted to stop there for a moment, I could bring my needle up. You can see then by bringing my needle up, it's left the needle in the right position, especially if we needed to rethread. But I'm going to lift the presser foot, which releases the tensions, take my project out, and then use the thread cutter at the side to cut my thread. These two threads, which is now the top thread and the bobbin thread, can sit out the back. Ready to start again. Let's do some decorative stitching. So let's show you on here. So at the moment on this screen, it's showing that we're on a zigzag stitch and we've changed the stitch width and the stitch length, but it's also telling us what foot to use. Now I was using the J foot. Whoops, a daisy. This is the standard zigzag foot, which is the J foot. Well, let's talk about what the other feet that you get with this machine. So that's the standard foot. We then get the N foot, which is an applique foot, which we're going to use in a moment because I'm going to use some decorative stitches, and it will tell us then to use the N foot. We've got the automatic buttonhole foot. Can't remember what number that is. Oh, it's an A, or letter, that is A. We've got a blind hem foot, which is foot R. So that's great for doing hems. We've got an over edge foot. So this is a fabulous machine for all sorts of sewing, but dressmaking is really good. So this finishes off, it's the G foot. It does an over edge stitch, which I think is probably number 7 or 15. I might have a little go with that in a moment. We've got a zipper foot, so you just use a straight stitch for that, and you can do set it on the left or the right hand side. We've even got a button sewing foot, so that's pretty good. That's pretty amazing. So drop the feed dogs, so we can drop the feed dogs on this machine. It doesn't come with the quilting foot, but that's an optional extra. But of course, it's nice and easy to drop the feed dogs, but also for button sewing, that's really nice too. So let's choose a stitch. I think we'll choose something that looks quite pretty. Oh, I always like these. So number 34. Actually, we're already on 4, so I only need to go to 30, 34. And it's telling us to use foot N, which is our applique foot. And that one is foot N. So I'm going to make sure that the thread is not in the way. I'm going to line up the presser foot, and then I'm going to use the presser foot razor to click it on. So line it up, and there we are, that's it. So to take it off, there's a little button here at the back. We push it and the foot falls off. And there's an extra lift as well. As you see there, if we've got something thick and heavy, we can lift the presser foot higher. So we just use that to click it on, and that's it. So we're on foot N on stitch number 34. This is a good opportunity actually to pop our presser foot down and take our foot pedal out. So we're going to take our foot pedal out at the side, and now I'm just going to press start stop, and it's magic, does it itself. So what I'm going to do, do a little reverse stitch. So I just clicked the reverse stitch just to see if it would just stop on that. It did. So either a reverse stitch or the start stop button. use the needle up, pull it out. There we are. How pretty is that? It's a lovely little stitch. So you can use all these decorative stitches for decorating some garments, or, you know, using them on plain fabrics to make them look a bit pretty. I think that's really nice. That's the thing with Brother, you get some really lovely designs. So now I think what we'll do is a buttonhole, just because for such a basic machine to have all these features, I think is really, really good. So then we're going to change the foot. So I'll click that one off. And then this is the buttonhole foot. So this is your automatic buttonhole foot. So I've got a little slider there. I'm going to pop a button in at the back, squish it together, and that's going to tell the machine how big to make the buttonhole. So it's all very clever stuff. This thread is rather curly, but we'll manage. You just want to make sure it doesn't get caught up under here. So lining it up, press foot razor, hear the click, that's it, okay? So I need to find a buttonhole stitch. And on this machine, we have plenty. So these are for stretch buttonholes, but we'll just do a standard buttonhole, which is this one, which is 26. Again, super easy to change. There we are. So it's telling us to use foot A, which we know, but also we need to bring our buttonhole lever down because it won't work without it. And the buttonhole lever is located behind the needle threader. See if I can do it this way without. So there we are. We're going to pull that all the way down and make sure it sits behind the front, behind this bit, the foot. So within the gap, not in front of the gap. And it must be all the way down. That's it. So let's do a buttonhole. Or let's create a buttonhole. Now, what I can do with all these threads, actually, I'm going to put my presser foot down, and it's going to go backwards, but I'm going to bring that bobbin thread up. So to do that, we need to put our needle down, and then our needle back up again. And to do that then, when I pull, we've got the bobbin thread that's come up, which means now it'll just be a lot neater when we start. I can see Jake, who's holding this film, going, woo, I didn't know that. Okay, so we're good to go. So buttonhole needs to be a automatic. It wants to do it itself. It doesn't want to rely on your kangaroo petrol. So we're taking away the foot pedal, and I'm just going to press start, stop. Now you see it's finished off at the end. Now what I should have done is stop it as it started to cut these threads, but I didn't want to stop the process. So needle up. We can push everything up out the way. Lift the presser foot. We can take that buttonhole foot off now. Take it out, and I'm just going to use the scissors to cut the thread. There we are. How neat is that? So I can now just cut the thread here, because it's all secured it naturally there, and then we would just use an unpicker to unpick, or a buttonhole chisel to unpick that. But that's another great feature of this machine. That's what I mean. It's for its money. It's pretty good. We like it. So nothing more to add. Lots of decorative stitches, super easy to use, comes with a nice selection of feet, and it's great for somebody who just wants a simple machine to make, to take things, or to repair, or to, you know, make adjustments to, or to do a bit of, you know, bag sewing, cushion sewing, odd curtain sewing. It's just a good all-rounder, nice and easy to use, and having the features of a digital machine, especially with the speed control, needle down, easy change, there's no buttons to worry about. We think this is a great buy. So I hope you've enjoyed watching our little video on the Brother SH40. We think it's a super little machine. There are hundreds in the range, and you know, for price wise it fits in really well with a good budget. And if you'd like to know more, come for a test drive, come visit us in Petersfield. We're so creative in Lemon Street. Thank you.